The following matchup is being played with History Maker Baseball Express, a fast-playing baseball simulation board game, a property of Play Games LLC, copyright 2022, all rights reserved. Welcome to today's episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. In today's episode, we are really glad that you are present for this one, as we will rewind back the clock to 1975 in this latest edition of World Series Rewind, when we feature the participants from the 1975 World Series in the Cincinnati Reds and the Boston Red Sox. Who will come out on top of this World Series matchup on our tabletop? Well, I guess you're going to have to tune in to find out, because game one is coming up in a matter of moments. But first, let's have a little look and say thank you to our official Play Game sponsors for sponsoring today's episode of World Series Rewind as part of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. We would like to take time to say thank you to our official Play Game sponsors for sponsoring today's episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. This episode, first of all, is being brought to you by your favorite Bitty Beer products. And again, if you choose to drink Bitty Beer, please remember to drink responsibly. Hey, it's a blend of hops, rice, and barley that gives Bitty Beer its taste. But we know better. It's our brewing process that gives our beer that one-of-a-kind flavor that no premium beer can match. Our vats have never been cleaned. There's an itty-bitty bit of history in every can. Bitty Beer, the beer for folks who can't afford better. And by Doc Cola, the official cola drink of the Play Games community. Doc Cola uses finest ingredients to bring you that sugary blast of caffeine you've come to know and love. Twice the sugar and 3 times the caffeine of any other major. Doc Cola is sure to keep fired up from dawn till dusk. Take the Doc Cola challenge. See why our customers agree you'll never be able to wean yourself from a refreshing Doc Cola. And by Pizza Kingdom, the official pizza joint of the Play Games community. Pizza Kingdom, our signature New York style pizza, starts with crust. Then we layer on our homemade pizza sauce and load your pizza up with mounds of cheese. When it comes out of the oven, piping hot, golden brown, and ready for you to enjoy. Then we give the majestic culinary work of art to Mikey, our 16-year-old delivery driver who has responsible as a treat. Pizza Kingdom, it's sheer perfection. Left the store. And by Suncoast Capital Banks. At Suncoast Capital, we live by one simple rule of investing. When our clients win, we win. When our clients lose, we win. Suncoast Capital, you know we're going to get all of your money anyway. And by Rubicon Wireless. Why pay $200 a month for wireless service when you get 4 lines for just $25 a month? With our tin can plan, you can access our wireless network that covers at 25% of coast to coast between the hours of 11 p.m. and 4:30 a.m. with unlimited text and messaging those hours, of course. So why overpay for services you cannot live out? Rubicon Wireless. It's that time once again for another installment of World Series Rewind. We are from Three Rivers Stadium here in Cincinnati for game one of this World Series Rewind matchup that will be featuring the 1975 World Series participants of the Boston Red Sox and the Cincinnati Reds. Your lineups are on screen, marked by, since both teams are main colors are a form of red, It'll be the battle of reds of the color red here. Oh, gee. As we will have Boston and Cincinnati go at it. And let's get right into things. Your starting pitching assignment is going to be none other than Gary Nolan for Cincinnati and Bill Spaceman Lee for Boston. Let's see who's going to take control of game one for this installment of World Series Rewind. It looks like Burleson is ready. So is Nolan. Let's do it from Three Rivers Stadium here in Cincinnati, Ohio. And we got a 145 to begin this installment of World Series Rewind. And it's going to read Ace or dynamic pitcher. Nolan is neither. Sat sack batter for Burleson. He is not. So it's going to be a men on base result with a -1 for the black die if flash. Nolan does not have flash. So the 5 is going to be a runners on second and third for Carl Yastrzemski. 15. Oh gosh, who knew? Scrapper hits a double. Yaz is not a scrapper. That is going to be a long fly ball hit out and far and gone for a 3-run home run to start things off here in this installment of World Series Rewind. And after a half of inning of play, the Red Sox have 3 runs and the Reds are coming to bat in the bottom half of the first. 445. Workman pitcher on Lee. That's a negative. Hero batter on Rose. Yes, he is a hero batter, and that is going to be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. He is stoic, unfortunately. So that 5 will be reduced to a 4. So it'll be placing the runners on first and third for Ken Griffey Sr. We'll roll off the whoops. Sorry, we'll roll clear. We'll roll again. Sorry, I misclicked on the button on the die roll buttons there. So we'll roll off the men on base chart for Ken Griffey. 35. Control pitcher. Bill Lee has control, so that is going to be a ground out for the Reds, and that is going to do it. And after 1 inning of play, the Red Sox lead it 3-0 here in game 1 of this installment of World Series Rewind. .135. Ace pitcher for Nolan. Get out of here. That's a negative. Champion batter on Fred Lynn. He is a semi-champion. The decider die says he is. So therefore, that's going to be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. That is a neutral runner for Fred Lynn. And that is going to place the runners at second and third for Jim Rice to bat in the 4th hole off the men on base chart. 16, good eye. Jim Rice does not have a good eye, so that is going to be a strikeout, and that is going to keep the score at Red Sox 3, Reds nothing as we head to the bottom half of the second inning. 3-4-5. Star pitcher on Lee. That is a negative. Stat sack on Morgan. That is also a negative. So therefore, that's going to be a -1 for the black die, a flash of control, men on base result. Bill Lee has control, so that 3 will be reduced to a 2. So we will put the runners on second base for the Hall of Famer Johnny Bench to bat off the men on base chart. And we have a 24. Goldfielder makes the out. Carlton Fisk is not gold. That is going to be an error, and runners advance 1 base. So we will have a first and third situation for Tony Perez. 66. Scrapper hits single. Perez is not a scrapper. That is going to be a 2-run double, and all of a sudden the Reds are on the board. It's 3-2 Red Sox as we head and roll again off the men on base chart. 35, control pitcher. Yes, Bill Lee has control, and that is going to do it for this half inning. And the Reds do get on the board. The score is Red Sox 3, Reds 2. We're on to Dwight Evans now with a 4.66. Workman pitcher on Nolan. That is a negative. Hero batter on Evans. Evans is a semi-hero. The decider die says he is not. So therefore, it's a no runs result with a possibility of hitting a solo home run. The black die is not a 6. So therefore, it's going to be a no runs result of a 6 dot. And that is going to smell the end of the half and the end of the top half of the third. The Red Sox still lead it 3-2. 1-2-4. Ace pitcher on Lee. No. Champion batter on Dave Concepcion. No. So that's going to be a no runs result. Yes, no runs result of a 2 blank. And that is going to be it for the first 3 innings of this one, with the Boston Red Sox in front of the Reds 3-2. 1-4-6. Ace pitcher or dynamic pitcher. That is a negative. Satsack batter on Petrocelli. No. So that is going to be men on base, -1 for the black die of control. Gary Nolan has double control, so that 6 will be reduced to a 4. So we go from bases loaded to runners on first and third for Doug Griffin. And he will take his cracks at it off the men on base chart. 24, Goldfielder makes the out. Oscar Cesar Geronimo has gold, so he is going to make the out, and we will consider it to be a flyout, as the score stays 4-2. Excuse me, 3-2, I should say, in favor of the 1975 Boston Red Sox. 1-4-4. Struggler pitcher on Lee. No. Satsack on Rose. No. That is going to be a men on base result with a -1 for the black die if control. And Lee does have control, so that is going to be a no runs result of a 4 dot for Rose. And that is going to do it for the 4th inning here at the stadium in Cincinnati. The score is Red Sox 3, Reds 2. 2-3-4. Pitcher not fresh. Again, if you've seen my previous videos on History Maker Baseball Express, for this edition, for this season of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour, I do play it as 3 full fresh, 3 semi-fresh. So since we're in the semi-fresh innings, Gary Nolan is he fresh? And the decider die says he is still fresh. 2-3-4 Satsack on Burleson. That is a negative. So that is going to be a men on base -1 from the black die if control. Nolan has semi-control, or excuse me, Nolan has double control. So that 2 will become a big fat goose egg, and it will be a no runs result of excuse me, of a 4 blank, and that is going to be it for the top half of the 5th for the Red Sox. And we will move on to the bottom half with the batter being Ken Griffey to hit for the Cincinnati Reds. 2-3-5. Start pitcher on Lee. Nope. Statsack on Griffey. Nope. That is going to be a men on base -1 for the black die of Flash. No Flash is present on Bill Lee's card, so the men on base result will go to a runner on second base for Joe Morgan. 56 for Morgan. Patient batter. He is patient, so he will draw the walk. as it will be first and second for the greatest catcher of all time, Johnny Bench. 45. Fresh pitcher gets the ground out. Again, we're in the semi-fresh innings. Bill Lee is fresh. Excuse me. He will get the ground out, and that is going to be it for the first 5 innings. And through 5 innings, the Red Sox hang on to a 1-run lead. The score is 3-2 in favor of the 1975 Boston Red Sox. 236. Struggler or gilded? Nolan is neither. Satsack on Yastrzemski. When is Carl Yastrzemski ever a Satsack? No. It will be an RBI check, decided yes or no check. So it looks like yes, the decided says there will be a run scored and an RBI. So Carl Yastrzemski will record that RBI, and he will further advance the lead for the Red Sox 4-2. 335. Here we are. Struggler pitcher for Lee. No. Champion batter on Perez. No. It's going to be a no runs result of a 5 blank. And all of a sudden, man, Bill Lee is cooking here right now, even though he gave up 2 runs to the Reds. And with that being said, we head to the 7th inning. Still, the Pens are still limitless, but there's some movement out there. No one's warming up yet. But we head to the 7th. The Red Sox lead it 4-2. 126. Struggler or gilded on Nolan? No. Hero batter on Lynn. He is a semi-hero. Decided says he is. So therefore, that is going to be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Lynn is a neutral runner, so that too will stay put, and we'll put Lynn out at second base for Jim Rice. And we will continue our turn off the men on base chart with a 35 control pitcher. Gary Nolan has double control. That is going to be a ground out. And what a way to end your day if you are Gary Nolan, as we see Sparky Anderson shaking, or as we see the Cincinnati Reds manager shake the hand of Gary Nolan. He says, "Job well done. We'll let the pen take over from here." And while Billy continues warming up his warm-up tosses, the fine patrons here at the stadium in Cincinnati is singing a rousing rendition of "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." And we are good to go with a 236. Struggler or gilded pitcher for Lee? No. Satsack on Foster? No. That's going to be an RBI check, and no. Wow, the black die was 6, but the decider die didn't want to come through for Cincinnati and George Foster, as the score will stay put. The score will stay put at a 4-2 lead for the Red Sox. And my oh my, after 7 innings of play, the Boston Red Sox still lead by that score. And folks, we are going to see a new pitcher come in for Boston. And while that new pitcher is taking up his warm-up tosses, we will take a quick timeout. And we are back here at the stadium here in Cincinnati, and it looks like Pedro Bourbon will be the new pitcher for the Reds, as he will stay put with a star and double control qualities, just like Gary Nolan had. But the score remains 4-2 for the Red Sox, and Fisk is up to bat, while Bourbon will have the flash quality for this at-bat against Carlton Fisk. 135, and it's going to feature ace pitcher for Bourbon. No. Fisk, we ask, is he a champion batter? He's a semi-champion. The decider die says no. So therefore, that is going to be a no runs result of a one dot, and that is going to be it for that inning. And folks, Bill Lee is going to pitch one more inning here, and we see the closer warming up for the Red Sox to hopefully get into the game for a save situation. Triple ones. Oh, this is going to be an experience check, so let's head over there right now, and I will roll the black die here for this one. 3. Icon batter. We are on Dave Concepcion. He's a semi-icon. The decider die says he is. Excuse me. And it will be a men on base result. So let's re-roll the white. Let's re-roll the black die. We have a 2. So that is going to put the runs for the runner on second base for Cesar Geronimo. And he will bat off the men on base chart. 56. Patient batter draws the walk. Unfortunately, Geronimo is not a patient batter. We're going back to the contact chart for a contact result. And again, I roll the red die for these contact results. 5. Champ. Geronimo is not a champ, so therefore it will be a pop out for Cesar Geronimo. And that is going to be all she wrote for the bottom half of the 8th. We head to the 9th inning. Your score is the Red Sox 4, Reds 2. We head to the 9th. Here is Dwight Evans' turn against Bourbon. And we have a 4.55. Workman pitcher for Bourbon. No. Utility on Evans. No. So that is going to be a -1 for the black die if flash or control. Bourbon has double control. So that 4 will be reduced to a 2. And we will put Evans out at second base. And we will move on to Rico Petrocelli's turn off the men on base chart. 46. Same reliever gets the strikeout. We have a reliever, and since we have both a righty versus righty, but Bourbon is a reliever, either way, it will be a strikeout for Rico Petrocelli and Pedro Bourbon. And the score, we head to the bottom of the 9th. The score is 4-2 in favor of the Red Sox. And the Red Sox are going to make their call to the pen for their closer for a save situation. And while the closer is taking up his warm-up tosses, we will happily take a quick timeout. And we are all set to go now for the bottom half of the 9th, as Dick Drago will be the new pitcher for the Boston Red Sox, as he will have the full flash quality for Pete Rose. And we begin the bottom half of the 9th with a 2-4-6. Star pitching? No, Drago's not a star. Champion batter for Rose? No. Excuse me. So therefore, that is going to be a no runs check with a possibility of a solo home run. Unfortunately, Pete Rose does not have either slugger or home run king printed on his card. That is going to be it with a no runs result of, let's see here, decider die, star no, 4-6, star no. Yeah, decider die was not used. It'll be a 2 dot, and that is going to be the ball game, folks. The score, your final score after game 1 of this World Series rewind matchup is the 1975 Red Sox winning it by the final of 4-2 over the Cincinnati Reds. And with that being said, we are sitting ready to go for game 2 of this World Series rewind matchup as we are live from Fenway Park for game number 2. Your starting pitchers for this game will be Rick Wise for Boston and Fred Norman for Cincinnati. With that being said, lineups are on screen with Dan Dreisen as the DH for Cincinnati, and Bernie Carbo will be the designated hitter for Boston. With that being said, Wise is ready. So is Griffey. Let's get to it for Game 2 of this episode of World Series Rewind. We're going to begin Game 2 with a 3-4-6, and it's going to look like this. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, Wise, I'm playing it again as 3 full fresh and 3 semi-fresh. So in this case, we're still in the full freshness innings. So Rick Wise is still fresh. Hero batter on Griffey, that is going to be a no, but it's going to be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Griffey does not have home run king or slugger qualities, so therefore it's going to be a no runs result of a 4 blank, and that is going to do it for the top half of the first. And we go to the bottom half of the first, and Doug Griffin will be the batter for Boston. (5-6-6). Star pitcher for Norman. That's a negative. Utility batter for Griffin. He's a semi-utility. The decider die says he is. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs with a possibility of a solo home run. Griffin does not have either home run king or slugger qualities. So that is going to be a no runs result of a 6 dot. And that is going to be all she wrote for the first inning. And after 1 inning of play, the score is a big fat goose egg between the Reds and the Red Sox. (3-5-6). Workman pitcher on Wise. That is a no. Champion batter on Morgan. He is a semi-champion. The decider die says he's not. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs with a possibility of a solo home run. Oh man. Okay, so the decider die was used for the champions check. Joe Morgan does have the semi-slugger. Let's see if he does so. He does. He does, and that one is going to be hit high, far, and out of here around the pesky pole and gone into the seats down the right field line as the Reds take charge in this one, leading it 1-0 off a Joe Morgan solo home run. We head to the bottom half of the second with by that score of Reds 1, Red Sox 0. 2-5-6. Workman pitcher for Norman, no. Sadsack on Carbo, no. So therefore, it's going to be a men on base result with a -1 for the black die if flash. Norman has semi-flash, and let me just double check here. 2-5-6. Workman, no. Sadsack, no. So yeah, decider die was not used. Excuse me. So Norman has semi-flash, and he does have flash. So the 5 will be reduced to a 4, and that's going to put the runners at first and third for Rick Burleson. And we'll roll off of the men on base chart of a 14. Scrapper hits single. Burleson is a semi-scrapper. The decider die says he's not. So therefore, that is going to be a double. And the Red Sox, just like that, are going to take the lead on a bases-clearing double by Rick Burleson. And that is going to bring up Carl Yastrzemski. 56. Patient batter draws the walk. Yaz is a semi-patient. Oh, but the decider die says no. He's not patient at all. So it's going to be a contact result. And I roll the red die for all my contact results. 3. Sadsack utility. Oh, Carl Yastrzemski's not a stat sack. Neither is he a utility. So therefore, he adds on another run with an RBI. And that is going to be it. The Red Sox lead the Reds here in this one in a shocking, surprisingly, in this debut, in this latest installment of World Series Rewind, with the Red Sox in front 3-2, or excuse me, 3-1 after 2 innings of play. 2-3-5. Star pitcher for Wise. That is a no. Stat sack batter on bench. That is a no. So therefore, that is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die of Flash. Wise has semi-flash, which in this case he doesn't. So therefore, it's going to be putting the runners on second. He's going to put bench on second base for Tony Perez. And he will bat off the men on base chart of a 25. Iron fielder commits the error. Fred Lynn is not an iron fielder. So therefore, that is going to be a ground out for Tony Perez, and that is going to do it for the top half of the third. Your score as we head to the bottom half of the third: Red Sox 3, Reds 1. 3-4-5. Star pitcher for Norman, no. Sat sack batter for Rice, no. -1 for the black die of flasher control, men on base result. Norman has semi-flash, and let me just make sure here. Star, no. Sat sack, no. Yes, decided I was not used. So Norman has flash. So that 3 will go to a 2, and we will put Rice out on at second for Carlton Fisk. And we will roll off the men on base chart of a 55. Again, everyone is neutral, batting team dissonant or pitching team harmony. Everybody is neutral. We're not taking advantage of who's sunny or who's stormy. So it will be a single, 2 and a run. It'll be an RBI single for Carlton Fisk. He will bring home the Red Sox 4th run of the ball game. And already right now, that bullpen is starting to stir out there in deep right center field here at Fenway Park for the Reds. They're starting to get loose, but no one is throwing yet, as the Reds are down 1-0, but they're down in game 2, 4-1 over the Red Sox. We continue to roll off the men on base chart for Dwight Evans with a 46. Same reliever gets to strikeout. Lefty on righty, that is going to be a no. We are going to be having a contact result, and usually I roll the red die for this. 3. Sat sack or utility on Evans. That is going to be a no. So, oh man, I think Norman is done. 5 runs in 3 innings, and I think the Reds manager has seen enough. He's starting to get someone loose out there in the pen, as this is not an ideal situation for the Reds, with Rick Wise really holding the Reds to 1 run, while his guys are really trying, but they really need to start pumping the brakes here for the defense pumping the brakes on defense, and not have Boston score so many more runs. And with that being said, after 3 innings, the Red Sox lead it 5-1 over the Cincinnati Reds. 166. Ace pitcher. Wise is pitching so far like an ace, but he's not. Stat sack on Foster. That is going to be no. Men on base result with a base running adjustment. Foster is stoic. So ace, no. Stat sack, no. Yet decided I was not used. He is stoic. So 6 becomes a 5. And we're placing the runners at second and third for Dave Concepcion. And let's see what he can do for his turn off the men on base chart. 26. Home run king, it's home run. Oh, Concepcion does not have a home run king. So therefore, It's going to be a contact result of a 2. Sad sack. Concepcion is not a sad sack. So therefore, that is the second run of the ball game for the Reds, courtesy of Concepcion off an RBI. And that is going to be it for the third inning, or excuse me, the fourth inning, I should say, here at Fenway Park. And we head to the bottom. And before we head to the bottom half of the fourth, with the Red Sox in front by 3 runs, 5-2, the Reds are going to go straight to the pen as the Reds manager is not kidding around. So while the new pitcher for the Reds is coming in to take his warm-up tosses, we will take a quick timeout. And with that being said, we are back as the new pitcher for the Reds is going to be Will McKinney. I think it's McKinney. If I butcher any of these names, I do apologize. And with that being said, he will have the full flash quality since he was warming up in the pen last half inning. We head to the bottom half of the fourth with the Red Sox in front by 3 runs, 5-2. 1-2-6. Struggler or Gilded? No. Hero batter on Petrocelli? No. That's going to be no runs with a possibility of a solo home run. Petrocelli does not have either home run king or whiffer, home run king or slugger, I should say. So that is going to be a no runs result, and that is good if you're a Reds fan. So you keep the Red Sox at bay, hoping to get back into this one, but it's willing to cost you a 1. Let me just make sure. 1-2-6. No. Yes, 1 dot, and that is going to smell the end of 4 innings in this one. After 4, it's Red Sox 5, Reds 2. We head to the 5th with a 2-4-5. Struggler pitcher on Wise. No. Setsack on Geronimo. No. So that's going to be a men on base result with a -1 for the black die if flash or control. Wise has full control, so that 2 becomes a 1. But according to the decider die, he does not have flash. So that 2 will be reduced to a 1 with Dan Dreisen to come up to the plate as the designated hitter for the Cincinnati Reds in this game off the men on base chart. 34. Slugger hits double. Oh, Dreisen is a semi-slugger. Decider die says he is. So therefore, that is going to be a double. So 2 bases on doubles. So runner on first will go to third. Runners on second and third for Pete Rose. 36. Patient batter draws the walk. Man, I wish Pete Rose had patience, but he doesn't. It's a contact result. And again, we'll roll the red die for this one. 1. Do we have a whiffer versus flash pitcher? We have a semi-flash, but no whiffer. So that is going to be an RBI for Pete Rose. And the Reds creep a little bit closer. It's 5-3. It's still in favor of the Red Sox. We go to the bottom half of the 5th. Your score, Red Sox 5, Reds 3. 1-3-5. Ace pitcher. Will McKinney is a semi-ace. Decider die says he's not. 1-3-5. Champion batter on Griffin. That is a negative. So no runs. It's going to be a no runs result of a 5 dot, and that is going to do it for that's going to do it for 5 innings in this one. After 5, it's Red Sox 5, Reds 3. 1-4-4. Struggler on Wise. That is a no. Griffey, is he a sat sack? Get out of here. No way. It's going to be a men on base, -1 for the black die of control. Rick Wise does have control. That's going to be a no runs result. Let me just make sure the decider die was not used. Struggler, no. Sansack, no. So, yep, decider die was not used. So it's going to be a 4 blank. And that is going to be it for the top half of the sixth. And we will move on to the bottom half with the score Red Sox 5, Reds 3. 135. Ace pitcher for Will McCanny. That is going. He is a semi-ace. Decider die says no. Champion on Carbo. That is a no. So that is going to be a no runs result of a 5 blank, and that is going to be it for the sixth inning here at Fenway Park. Your score: Red Sox 5, Reds 3. 246. Star pitcher. Wise is not a star. Champion batter on Morgan. Morgan is a semi-champion. The decider die says he is. That's going to be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Oh man, Morgan is active, but again, you can't go higher than a 6. So the bases are loaded, full of Reds for Johnny Bench. We'll roll off the men on base chart for a 56. Patient batter draws the walk. Bench is not a patient batter. We are going to go to the contact. We're going to go to the contact chart with a 3. Satsack or utility. Bench is neither. That is going to be an RBI for Johnny Bench. It's a 1-run game now, and right now the Red Sox pen is stirring. It is now a 1-run, and right now it's a 1-run contest. Red Sox 5, Reds 4 as we head to the stretch. And with that being said, we are ready to go for the bottom half of the seventh inning. Everyone is back settled in, all stretched out, and back into their seats to witness a classic end of this one. We head to the bottom of the seventh. The Red Sox lead it 5-4. 256. Workman pitcher. Wise is not a workman. Satsack. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Bottom half. Bottom half. Sorry. Yeah, McCanny does not have workman. Satsack. Burleson. No. Men on base. -1 for the black die of flash. Excuse me. Decider die says for McCanny as he has semi-flash. Decider die says he does. So that 5 will be reduced to a 4. So it's first and third for Yaz. As we will roll off the men on base chart of a 34. Slugger hits double. Yaz is a semi slugger. Oh, but the decider die says he's not. That is going to be a single, but either way, a run is going to come across to score. So 1 run scores on an RBI single by Carl Yastrzemski. The Red Sox add on to their lead. It's back to a 2-run game now. It's Red Sox 6, Reds 4. And it looks like the Red Sox are going to go to their pen. And while they do so, we will take a quick timeout. And we are back and ready to go for the next half inning, the top half of the eighth, with the Red Sox in front, 6-4. And the new pitcher for the Red Sox is going to be Jim Burton. So he will have the full flash quality for this at bat against Tony Perez. 2-4-5 to begin this top half of the eighth. Struggler pitcher for Burton. That's a no. Satsack batter on Perez. Get out of here. No way. Men on base, -1 for the black die of flash or control. Since Burton for this at bat against Tony Perez, he has the full flash, so that 2 will become a 1. But the decider die was not used, so he does not have control. So the 2 will become a runner on first for George Foster. 14. Scrapper hits single. Foster is not a scrapper. That is going to be a double. And the Reds creep back that, get back that one-run contest now. It's a bases clearing double for George Foster. As we go to Dave Concepcion, this is a huge moment in this game right here. Another 14. Scrapper hits single. Oh, Dave Concepcion is a semi-scrapper, but the decider die says he's not. That is going to be another double, and the Reds have tied it at 6, thanks to Dave Concepcion's double. Dave Concepcion's RBI double, and here comes Cesar Geronimo up to the dish with the runner on second base. 25. Iron fielder commits the error. Fred Lynn is not an iron fielder. That is going to be a ground out, and that is going to be it. But the Reds have come back to tie things up, forcing both starters to not have a decision here in this one. We are all deadlocked at 6 as we head to the bottom half of the 8th inning. 1-4-5 on Jim Rice. But first, ace or dynamic pitcher. Will McCanny is a semi-ace, and the decider die says he is. So that is a no runs result of a 4-dot. Or excuse me, the ace quality semi-ace decider die says he is. It's going to be a no runs result of a 4-dot, and that is going to be it for that. For the 8th inning, we go to the 9th, all dead even at 6. 1-1-3. Struggler on Burton. That's a no. Utility on Dreisen. That's a no. RBI check. The decider die says no. So that's going to be a no runs result of a 1 blank. And that is going to force us to go to the bottom half of the 9th. And what do you know? Carlton Fisk is up at the plate. Can he recreate some magic from that magical home run over the monster and to win game 2 and win this World Series rewind matchup and forcing a sweep on the Reds? Can he do it? We head to the bottom of the 9th, all deadlocked at 6. 3-4-4. Star pitcher. McCanny's not a star. Utility batter. Oh, Fisk is not a utility. So therefore, it's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die of control. McCanny does have control. So that 3 will become a 2. And that's going to leave up to the bat of Dwight Evans. Either we go to extras or the game is over. We go to the men on base chart. 45. Same reliever gets the strikeout. We have a lefty versus righty. Oh, but wait a second. Since we don't have the same righty versus righty matchup, but McCanny is a reliever, so he will get the strikeout to force extra innings. Here in this one, here in game 2, we go to the 10th. The score, Red Sox 6, Reds 6. 2-5-6. Workman pitcher on Burton. That is a no. Sad sack on Rose. Get out of here. No way. Men on base, -1 for the black die if flash. Burton has semi-flash and he does not. Oh my goodness. Runners are going to be placed at 2nd and 3rd. Yes, it was flash. Yep. So I did that correctly. So there we go. We are on to Ken Griffey for the men on base roll of a 16. Good eye. Oh, we go to the bottom of the 10th. It's a strikeout. Griffey does not have good eye, so therefore that is going to be a strikeout. And we go to the bottom of the 10th. The Red Sox and Reds are all dead even at 6 here in game 2 of this episode of World Series Rewind. 2-2-3. Ace pitcher. McCanny is a semi-ace. Decider die says he is. That'll be a no runs result of a 2 blank. And that is going to force us to go to the 11th inning. Your score is deadlocked at 6. We head to the 11th inning with Joe Morgan up to the plate as the active batter. 3-4-6. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, Burton is the reliever, so he is semi-fresh. Sorry, not semi-fresh. Excuse me. He is full fresh. Hero batter on Morgan. No, that is going to be a no-runs result with a possibility of a solo home run check. Oh, but the black die is not a 6. Morgan does not have the home run king quality on his card, and that is going to force us to go to the bottom half of the 11th, all dead even at 6. As it's a no runs result of a 6. Let me just make sure of a blank. He's fresh. Hero, no. Yes, 6 blank. We head to the bottom of the 11th right now with Doug Griffin coming up to the plate. Excuse me. 1, 2, 3. Workman or struggler? McCanny is neither. Champion batter. Griffin is not a champion. Ready for 12? I am. I'm sure as heck I am. It's a no runs result of a 3 dot, and that is going to force us to go to the 12th inning. My bad. It's 12 innings now. And your score is deadlocked even at 6 all. All triple ones. This is going to be a experience microchart check. So we're heading there right now. We'll roll the white die for this, or the black die. 2. Prospect batter on bench. No. That is going to be 2. Prospect bat. No. Oh boy, it's going to be a men on base result. Let's see. 2. So we're putting the runner at second base for Tony Perez. This is the Reds' chance to get it ahead here. 45. Fresh pitcher gets the ground out. Oh, Burton is the relief arm. He is fresh, and that is going to be all she wrote for the top half of the 12th inning. We go to the bottom half of the 12th, all deadlocked at 6. Who is going to blink first? Because I have a funny feeling the first team to blink first is going to lose. 1-5-6. Ace pitcher. McCanny is a semi-ace. Decider die says he is. It'll be a no runs result of a 6 dot. And we head to the 13th inning. Your score is dead even at 6. Who is going to be the first team to blank first? 2-2-4. Ace pitcher. Burton is not an ace. Utility batter on Foster. No. That is going to be men on base, -1 for the black die of control. Burton has semi-control. He does not. We are going to put the runners at second base for Dave Concepcion. 16. Good eye. We go to the bottom half of the 13th. It's going to be a strikeout. Who is going to blink first here in this one, folks? 2-3-5. Star pitcher. McCanny's not a star. Oh boy. Sad sack batter on Burleson. No. That's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die of flash. And it looks like McCanny has semi-flash. Let me just make sure. 2-3-5. Star, no. Sad sack, no. Yes, the Saturday was not used. He has semi-flash. The Saturday says all he does. So -1 from the black die, in this case, the white number on screen of a 5 to a 4. That is going to, the winning run is on third base for Carl Yastrzemski. 14. Oh my, folks, this is going to do it. Scrapper hits a single. No. That is going to be the ball game, folks. And either way, it will be a double and an RBI. The final score in 13 innings, the Red Sox beat the Reds in Game 2 of this World Series rewind by the final score of 7-6. Well, it looks like the Red Sox have won this episode of World Series Rewind, but we still have to figure out, will they end up sweeping the Cincinnati Reds in this episode of World Series Rewind? So, with that being said, your starting pitchers for this game 3 is going to be Don Gullett for the Reds and Luis Tiant for the Red Sox. Your starting lineups are out there on the on screen with the pawns marking to see who marking the current batter who is currently um, the active batter. So um, we begin game 3 with Fred Lynn going for the Red Sox to bat and Don Gullett ready to pitch to him. The winner If the Red Sox win, they sweep this episode of World Series Rewind. If the Reds win, they will salvage this game, but with the Red Sox already winning this episode of World Series Rewind. Sweep or no sweep? Let's find out right now. We're going to begin game 3 with a 1-1-3 struggler pitcher for Gullett. That is a negative. Utility batter for Lynn. That is a no. RBI question mark check. The Saturday is showing yes. So that is going to be an RBI for the Red Sox, and they lead it 1-0 over the Cincinnati Reds as we head to the bottom half of the first. 2-4-5. Let's see here. Struggler pitcher. Tian is not a struggler. Sad sack for Geronimo. That is going to be a negative. So 2-4-5. Yes, men on base, -1 for the black die. If flash or control, Tian has control, so the 2 goes to a 1. And the decider die, I believe, was not used. Struggler, no. Yes, it was not used. So that 2 will go to a 1 with the control. And with Tian having semi-flash, the decider die says he does. That 1 will go to 0, and it will be a no-runs result of 5 dot. And that is going to do it for the first inning. And after 1 inning of play, the Red Sox lead it over the Reds 1-0. 3-5-6. Workman pitcher for Gullett. No. Champion batter on Rice. He is a semi-champion. The decider die says he is. So therefore, that is going to be 3-5-6. Yes, a men on base, -1 for the black. Oh, excuse me. A men on base with a base running adjustment. Rice is a neutral runner, so it'll be a 3, and we will definitely put the runners at first and second for Carlton Fisk. And he will bat off the men on base chart of a 16. Good eye? No, Fisk does not have a good eye, so therefore that is going to be a strikeout. And that is going to do it for the second inning here in Cincinnati. Your score after 1.5 innings of play is 1-0 Red Sox lead. 1-4-5. Acer dynamic pitcher. Tian is neither. Sat sack on Rose. That is a no. So therefore, that is going to be a men on base, -1 for the black die if Tion has flash. Decider die says Tion has semi-flash. The decider die says he doesn't. So that 4 is going to become runners on first and third for Ken Griffey. And we're going to roll off the men on base chart of a 56. Patient draws the walk. Unfortunately, Griffey is not a patient batter, so therefore we have a contact result. And I usually roll the red die for this. 5. Champion. Griffey is a semi-champion. The decider die says he is. So therefore, that is going to be an RBI, and that is going to tie up the ball game at 1-1 after 2 innings of play. We go to the third inning for Dwight Evans. 3-5-6. That is going to be looking for a workman pitcher from Gullett. No. Champion batter from Evans. That's a negative. So therefore, that's a no runs with a possibility of a solo home run. The black die is not a 6. Evans does not have the home run king quality. So therefore, it is a no runs result of a 5 blank. And that is going to be it for the top half of the third. And we move to the bottom half of the third inning with the score all dead even at 1 apiece. Two, 3, 6. Struggler or gilded for Tion? No. Sad sack batter for Morgan? No. That's going to be an RBI check, and it looks like the decider die says yes. So the Reds lead it for the first time in this episode of World Series Rewind with the score now in their favor, 2-1. Excuse me. And we move to and after 3 innings, that score will be a 2-1 lead for the Reds. Let's see if they can hold it as we head to the 4th here in Cincinnati. 1-3-6. Ace pitcher for Gullett. He is a semi-ace. Decider die says he is. That is a no runs result of a 3. And that is going to be all she wrote for the top half of the 4th. And we move to the bottom half of the 4th by the score of 2-1 in favor of the Cincinnati Reds. 5-6-6. Star pitcher for Tion. That is a no. Utility batter for Bench. Get out of here. Why is Bench? Bench is really not a utility batter. So therefore, it's a men on base result, -1 for the black die at flash. Tion has semi-flash, and the decider die says he does not. So therefore, the bases are loaded full of Reds for Tony Perez. 44, wild pitcher allows the walk. Tion is not a wild pitcher, so therefore that is going to be a flyout for Tony Perez, and that is going to be it for the first 4 innings in this one. The score is Reds 2, Red Sox 1. 2-2-4. Ace pitcher for Gullett. He is a semi-ace. Decider die says he is an ace. So therefore, it's going to be a no runs result of 2 blank. And that is going to do it for the top half of the 5th. And your score, after 4.5 innings complete, 2-1 in favor of the Cincinnati Reds. We are going on to the bottom half of the 5th with a 1-4-6. Ace or dynamic for Tion? No. Stat sack for Foster? No. That's going to be a men on base result, -1 for the black die if control. Tion has control, so that is a no runs result of a 4. And that is going to do it for the first 5 innings of this one. It's close. The Reds still hang on to a 1-run lead. It's 2-1 in favor of Cincinnati. 1-4-5. Ace or dynamic pitcher for Gullett. He is a semi-ace. Decider die says he is. That's going to be another no runs result of 1 blank. And that is going to be it for the top half of the 6th. And we will move on to the bottom half with the Reds in front 2-1. 266. Star pitcher for Tiant. No. Champion batter for Concepcion. No. It's going to be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Unfortunately, Concepcion does not have the slugger, neither the home run king quality. So therefore, it's going to be a no runs result of a 6 dot, and that is going to be it for the first 6 innings of this one. It is close. It's still anybody's game. The Reds still lead it 2-1. 1-2-4. Ace pitcher. Gullet is a semi-ace. Decider Die says he is. So therefore, that's a no runs result. And we're going to head to the stretch with a 4 blank on the no runs result. We head to the stretch here in Cincinnati with your score still a 1-run contest, 2-1. Here we go with Tiant's turn after everyone has taken their stretch break. And let's get back to it with a 2-2-6. Ace pitcher. Tiant is not an ace. Utility batter for Geronimo. No. So therefore, that's going to be an RBI question mark result. Oh, and the decider die says no. So what a good way to keep the Reds off the board if you're the Boston Red Sox here. No RBI. So that is going to be a no runs result of a 2 dot. And that is going to be it for the first 7 innings of play. We head to the 8th. The Reds still lead it 2-1. 2-3-5. Star pitcher. Gullet is not a star. Sad sack batter for Lynn. No. So that's going to be a men on base, -1 for the black die if flashed. Gullet has semi-flash. Decider die, let me just double check. Ace. 2-3-5. Star, no. Sad sack, no. Yes, decider die was not used. So Gullet has semi-flash. Decider die says he does. So that 5 will be reduced to a 4. It's first and third for Jim Rice. Rolling out the men on base chart. I'm an 11. Batting team harmony or pitching team dissonance. And again, we're not all these teams throughout this season of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour are not going to take full advantage of the sunny, stormy, being harmony or dissonance. So with that being said, it will be a ground out to end things here in the top half of the 8th. And we head to the bottom half of the 8th. Your score is Reds 2, Red Sox 1. And Gullet, and the hand has been shaken. The Gullet has shook the hand of his manager, and he says, "Job well done." The closer is starting to make his tosses in the bullpen. He will come in for he will come into the top half of the 9th for a save situation. But before we get there, let's go to the bottom half of the 8th for the Reds' turn at the dish. 5-5-6. Star pitcher. Tiant is not a star. Hero batter for Rose. He is a hero. So therefore, it's going to be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Stoic runner for Rose. 5 becomes a 4. It'll be putting the runners on first and third for Ken Griffey. And we'll roll off the men on base chart of a 56. Patient batter. No, Griffey is not a patient batter. So therefore, it's going to be a contact result of a 2. Stat sack, no. Adding on an insurance run, it's still a safe situation for Cincinnati. 3-1 now, courtesy of an RBI for Ken Griffey. And here comes the closer. And while the closer for the Reds takes his time to get his warm-up tosses in, we will take a quick timeout. And we are back as we are getting set and ready to go for the top half of the 9th. Last call for the Red Sox here for their chance to sweep the Reds. as Raleigh Eastwick will be the closer and has entered the game for a save situation. And for this turn against Carlton Fisk, he will have the full ace quality. Let's roll out to see what happens. 4-5-6. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, Eastwick is a relief pitcher, so he is fully fresh. Champion batter on Fisk. He's a semi-champion. Decider Die says, oh my goodness, he is. Men on base result with a base running adjustment. That 5 is going to stay put. Runners are in scoring position with the tying run at second base for Dwight Evans off the men on base chart. 14, Scrapper hits single. Dwight Evans is not a scrapper. That is going to be a bases clearing double to tie things up at 3. Oh man, that is a blown save for Cincinnati. My goodness, the poor management of the bullpen. If you're the Cincinnati Reds manager, had this game all wrapped up in their grasp, but it somehow slipped away. But the game is tied up at 3 as we go on to Rico Petrocelli's at bat off the men on base chart. 23, Eager grounds out. Petrocelli's not eager. That is going to be a walk. Runners on first and second for Doug Griffin. 25, Ironfielder makes the Ironfielder commits the error. Joe Morgan is not an iron fielder, so therefore that is going to be a ground out. And we go to the bottom of the 9th, all dead even at 3 all. And it looks like Boston is going to go to their pen. And while they do so, we will take a quick timeout. And we are back. Since the new pitcher, Jim Willoughby, did not warm up, we are not going to give him an extra quality for coming out of the pen. And with that being said, the game is all dead even at 3 for Johnny Bench. The Reds are trying to walk things off here in the bottom of the 9th to avoid the hands of a sweep at the hands of the Boston Red Sox. 1-4-5. Acer dynamic pitcher. Willoughby is not. Stat sack batter for Bench. No. Men on base, -1 for the black die if flash. So ace, no. Stat sack, no. Decider die was not used. That one, he is a semi-flash. Decider die says he is. That one will be reduced to 0. So it's a no runs result. And folks, for the second game in a row, we are going to extras, all dead even at 3 this time, with a no runs result of 5 blank. And we are heading to extra innings right now. 1-5-5. Ace pitcher for Eastwick. He's a semi-ace. Decider die says he is. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs result of 5 blank. And folks, we're going to the bottom of the 10th. Another chance to walk things off for the Reds. Uh, 2-3-6. Yes, 2-3-6. Struggler or gilded pitcher. Willoughby is neither. Stat sack batter for Perez. No. RBI check. Oh, and the decider die does not want to behave. It's a blank. We go to the 11th. The score remains dead even at 3 all. It's a no runs result for Perez of 2 blank. Oh man. We go to the 11th, all dead even at 3 for the at-bat of Rick Burleson. 1-3-5, ace pitcher for Eastwick. He's a semi-ace. Decider die says he is. So it's a 5 blank for Eastwick, and he's going to bring, and we go to the bottom half of the 11th, all dead even at 3. 244, ace pitcher for Willoughby. No. Utility batter for Foster. No. Men on base, -1 for the black die of control. Willoughby has semi-control. Decider die says he does. From 2 to 1, that is going to bring up Dave Concepcion. 12. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Slugger hits home run. Dave Concepcion does not have slugger. It's going to be a single and no runs. We go to the 12th inning. Oh my goodness. Unbelievable. What is this game we are witnessing? Who is going to blink first? 1, 2, 5. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, Eastwick is a semi-fresh, is a relief pitcher, so there's no so he stays full fresh. Champion batter on Yastrzemski. No runs. 2 dot. Yes, 2 dot. Let me just make sure. Ace. Pitcher not. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 5. Pitcher not fresh. So he's still fresh. Champion batter on Yaz. No. So yeah, no runs. 2 dot. We go to the bottom of the 12th. The Reds still have another chance to walk things off to avoid the sweep here in Game 3 of this episode of World Series Rewind. .366. Workman pitcher for Willoughby. No. Utility batter for Geronimo. No. RBI. And guess what, folks? The Reds are going to walk it off. The black die is a 6. Therefore, the decider die says dot on the RBI check. That is going to be 2 RBIs. The Reds are going to avoid the hands of the sweep at the hands of the Red Sox and salvage Game 3 of this World Series Rewind matchup with Geronimo scoring 2 RBIs in this half inning. The Reds walk it off over the Red Sox 5-3 in 12 innings. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode of World Series Rewind as we featured the 1975 participants in the Cincinnati Reds and the Boston Red Sox. Well, it seems we ran out of time for today, but never fear. Let's see what's coming up next time here on the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. And it looks like we will have the debut episode of MLB Memorable Games as we will be playing full play History Maker Baseball as we will revisit the game from June 30th, 1996, a wild one in Denver between the Dodgers and the Rockies. Your probable starters for that game will be Hideo Nomo and Mark Thompson. But who will come out on top of this one? Well, I guess you're going to have to tune in to find out next time here on the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour that was being played with History Maker Baseball Express. We look forward to bringing you more matchups of Rivalry Night, World Series Rewind, Cross-Era Showdown, and a blast from the past as we revisit some classic and memorable games from Major League Baseball throughout the 2026 Major League Baseball regular season.